Welcome to the Glazier Nation podcast, where we uncover the best stories and the best practices of the glass and glazing industry. Whether you're a seasoned vet or just starting out your journey, this show's a great place for entertainment and a deeper understanding of our industry. I'm your host, John Spelman, and I'm truly honored to take you beyond the glass. My guest this week is Carla Garrett with Custom Glass in Arkansas. I've been in this industry over 25 years, and Carla is the first female glazer I've met. Obviously, I've met tons of women in the industry, but this is the first glazer. Carla and I discussed that and why there aren't more female glazers. We discussed how glass shops can make the industry more appealing to recruit more workers, and we covered best practices for cutting glass. I had a blast chatting with Carla, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. The Glazier Nation podcast is sponsored by Glazier Nation. You can check out all their offerings at glaziernation.com. If you're interested in sponsoring the podcast or other marketing opportunities, go to glaziernation.com/marketing. And if you have questions for me or you know someone that would make a great guest for the show, you can contact us on any of our social medias at Glazier Nation Podcast. You came on a podcast that has 21 episodes and decided not to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much time for stuff, but yeah, I will start listening.
I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying that, like, me personally, I would have wanted to check out the show.
No.
You don't wear like AirPods or something at work? No.
That's So I play music in the back.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So the podcast is on Spotify, Amazon, and Google Podcasts. So any of those three. I don't know if it's going to make interesting listening for your shop, but
I
like podcasts while I drive.
Fit. So I think that's something that I would enjoy listening to. So since I'm obsessed with glass.
Okay. Yeah. If
it would.
Okay. If you were walking on a treadmill or something, that'd be perfect. Speaking of fitness, I totaled my shin this morning jumping on a pilo box. You know what a pilo box is? They're like the boxes that you do like box jumps on.
Oh, okay.
And I've never fallen on one ever until today, and I'm surprised how much it hurt.
Well, I was sanding some plexiglass. The lady was demanding that I make her an oval tabletop out of plexiglass that she can clean. I said, okay, you get whatever you want. So anyways, I had plexiglass fly up in my eye, and I was like, well, that's what I get for not wearing eye protection. So
yeah, I mean, that should be rule number one, right?
Yes. And I get in trouble. My boss to get on to me for that. Yeah, because he's already had to get a piece of metal. He had to pay for a piece of metal being took out, a piece of aluminum being cut out of my eye. So.
Yeah, you got to start wearing your safety glasses.
But I usually am pretty good about my PP.
Well, let's expand on all that so it makes sense to anybody. You are a glazer, and is it custom glass? That's what's on your shirt, and that is you're in Arkansas. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Conway.
Okay, I should know all this stuff, but now we do. We did a Glazer of the Year series last year, and one of my favorite questions to ask the glazers was how would you define a glazer?
I would define a glazer as a very skilled profession. You got to multitask. First, I try to say it's like carpentry with art to it. Because, you always have to finesse glass to get what you want out of it. Don't just give up because, it's out of 16th here and out of 8th there. You just got to keep working with it till you get it to how you want it, perfection. And glazers, they are artists, We take something and make it into a beautiful masterpiece, what the customer wants. And the customer gets what they want, So mine, Glazier is there's so many things. You got cutting glass. You got fabbing metal frames, 2 by 4.5 inch frames. Storefront. You got curtain wall. You got the pressure bars. How taut do you put pounds of pressure for the pressure bar screws, and then you got your base, and then you got tabletops, shower doors, mirrors, auto glass. There's endless skill that you got to have to be a glazier and multitask. Everything goes on one way and it comes apart one way. You just got to figure out the strategy in doing so.
I'm sure other trades would argue with me, but I everything you're saying, the complexity of it, the amount of different systems, and then the amount of different systems inside those systems, right? Like you've got curtain wall by this manufacturer, and then this manufacturer has 6 different curtain walls. Off the top of my head,
Right.
I suppose electricians.
There's so many different styles.
I suppose electricians have a lot, that they need to know, a large range of knowledge that they need to know. But, comparing it to a carpenter, yeah. And I'm not knocking that. That's a skilled trade, right? But yeah, glaziers need to know a lot of different things.
That's right. I mean, to be a glazier, you have to have a lot of skills to perform the task without getting help, especially when you're leading.
I've met tradeswomen. I've met women on job sites. I've met women in the glass industry. You are the first woman glazier that I've met.
Thank you. As that's
Why are there not more women glaziers?
They're being told no, that they can't, and that's what, provoked me. Plus my daddy said I could do anything a man can do, and he was 100% behind me. But, when you're being told no and you can't, and women, they take it as, the men are right. Well, no, you're not right, because I'm proof of it, and that just made me go harder, being told no and that I can't, it's the ending result when I, have the customer gasping about how beautiful their shower door is that I've installed, or, the tabletop that I freehanded and made with my heart. It's all the little things that mean so much to me in the glass industry.
Yeah, and you mentioned art a couple times now, and that's absolutely true.
It's the art.
Of all the building materials that go into a building, you can draw a mural or you can decorate a building that way, but it's not the actual building material. The building materials, glass is by far like the most artistic.
Yes, it's beautiful.
The colors,
shapes. And it's always going to be a need. Yes.
And then,
and
stained glass, that kind of stuff, and shower doors and mirrors, and yeah, agree with you. So, hey, back to women real quick. What would make being a glazier more appealing, or maybe more general? What would make the glass industry more appealing for women?
Well, me, for instance, you gotta, if you love something, if you have a skill, there's no need in putting it to the side. Why not show it to your fullest? Never give up. If you got an art and you love to do it, do it. I've been told no and to go away or sit down or cook something, but I'm never going away. And the glass industry is everything to me. And I believe, our industry runs off of women, in a lot of ways. They may not just be in the field, but they're their backbone to it.
So that's part of a larger question, right? Is the next generation, whether it's going to be in the field or in offices, wherever it is, the next generation seems to be a concern for a lot of people in our industry, right? You have the boomer generation retiring. There's an insane amount of tribal knowledge in that generation that is not necessarily being transferred. And a huge complaint I hear all the time is people can't find anybody. Specifically, they can't find any young people. So to make the industry more appealing for not only women, but also for young people, you know, what can you think of that, I don't know, maybe employers or decision makers could do to make it more appealing?
Well, invest in your teams, your glazing teams. You know, if men and women see a strong team and a fully functioning business, they want a part of it. Hey, I see this doing so well. Let me, oh, well, this guy says this is a great place to work and a good trade, and it's not hard, and you just got to know how to handle it. So, learning, I learn something new every day. But, you know, investing in your team to know that they're happy, content, and trained, you will get better product at the very end of it. Everybody's happy, a win-win. Assuming that somebody knows something, one of your apprentices is, a mistake. Make sure do mock-ups, or hold, team events. Do things with your team to make them grow stronger and let them know that they're appreciated and they do better. And then bring people, they'll bring their friends. They'll bring the young.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. I think not everybody is going to be job jumping or looking for the highest dollar amount. That's not what motivates everybody. I think a lot of people get motivated just by being somewhere where they want to be,
and being a part of something good. If you if you invest in them, if you pour your heart and soul in, especially, when you train them, they'll always look up to you and stick with you. Always, even if they do go on to other glazing jobs.
Yeah. I always like to hear that kind of stuff, and I love to see it in practice. We did a podcast. You said you're gonna listen to the podcast now, so go back and listen to the interview with Tom Jackson. He spoke a lot about that, and he's done a lot of that stuff, and it's kind of that concept of maybe a few points less of profit for a few more points of employee happiness, and then employee retention, and then that just
customer happiness.
And then that just and then it's almost like that kind of pays back the profits. Like you'll end up making the same or more, I feel like, in that direction.
And you have better quality product at the end.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're right. I think that helps acquire and retain young people in our industry, which I think is needed. All that tribal knowledge has to be transferred to somebody, or there's going to be big problems.
And a lot of times, too, I see where, men are afraid to teach their tricks of the trade, the knowledge, fearing that they're going to be, jobless.
Yeah.
I do not think that way at all. I feel like I promote the person I'm training 100%. If you do better than me, that I want you, do better.
Yeah, I that's a really insecure. I understand what you're saying. That's a really insecure thought process, because if you're.
But I've seen that.
Yeah, I agree. I would say if you are even slightly above replacement level, you have really good job security in our industry right now. I mean, everyone that I know would love to hire more people, right? Now, if you're awful at your job and you're that's a whole different story, but that's a whole insecurity thing, right? You get one of these new young people in your shop. What is your approach to training?
Well, usually I'm not in the shop when I train. I'm in the field, and my approach to training them is I have them right beside me. And that's when the woman issue comes in to kick. They see me and like, oh yeah, right, what could she teach me? Okay, well, get ready, because here it goes, And I work triple hard every time, and I don't care to do it. I love to do it, And every time that I go to train them, they see me as a woman working hard, and wow, ending product is, spot on. Hey, I bet I can be better than her. That's what I want. When they take the tools from me and to continue to do exactly what I want, I'm happy. That's my golden moment. Because I know from that point forward, I ain't got to hold their hand. And they'll watch and they'll continue to learn from me.
When I installed, I did primarily storefront and some curtain wall. I did very little glass cutting. You're an expert glass cutter. What is the most important thing about cutting glass? And don't tell me safety, because you already let off that you don't wear your safety glasses.
No, allowing the right amount of clearance, and I'm spot on. I'm very precise. I will really get in my feelings if somebody was to bring something back that I got wrong. But, I'm very precise. I still do it the old way. I was taught on Fletcher 08, but now I'm at the oil cutter, but I use a square, but I don't have no complaints. And I do a lot of cutting out of square.
Is there a tool that doesn't exist that glaziers need? What is something that glaziers need?
They need to feel appreciated first. But foremost, they need good work orders. When you're going to install, my biggest gripe is going in blindfolded. If you ain't up to par with your team up, your tablets, your pictures, if I don't know what I'm doing or which side I'm hinging this door, going into a job and not having the accurate specifications for the install, it's most frustrating. That is the most important thing to an installer, a glazier, is to know what goes where and where you're going.
So how could a business owner or project manager, a lead glazer, how could they do better providing that information?
Pictures, tablets for the workers, that's, crucial, that's, the specifications of your work order is everything to an installer. I mean, the proper, specifications. If you don't have it and you're going into a job blindfolded and you got two pieces of glass on the truck and you don't know which side goes what and what, you're already working yourself up for failure, So if you got the right instructions for the install, then, I believe that's the most important thing to a glazier and installer.
Do you find that the instructions or the order are becoming easier and clearer with technology?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, technology is, woo, it's everything, Technology is everything.
I've noticed,
especially no more maps.
Nothing.
I've been installing since where I used to use maps.
Oh, like to get somewhere. Yeah. I mostly missed the maps thing, but I did do the printed directions. That was when I started driving, was about printed directions.
Yeah.
I've noticed absolutely nothing to do with glass. Specifically, my kids got these like loft beds for Christmas, and I don't know, someone that's smarter than me probably looks at the instructions and says they're perfectly fine, but I thought that they were like the most bare bones instructions I've ever seen, and I couldn't find anything online. I definitely did one of them like backwards, and I had to take it apart and redo it. But but I think you're right. I think
my grandkids won't bed. Yeah. Putting things, in. That is the number one thing that I hear glazier installers gripe about.
I think you're right though with our stuff, with glass industry stuff, I think the access to technology makes things easier. Now, maybe your purchase order wherever you work, depending on the owner or the project manager, maybe that's not streamlined, but as far as trying to find a manufacturer's installation instructions or something, that's got to be 100 times easier than it was 20 years ago.
Right. 100%.
Speaking of 20 years ago, well, let's say 10 years ago. What's been the biggest change for glazers in the last 10 years?
Getting better equipment to do the installs. Like on the curtain wall, we got our boom lifts, we got our sky tracks, we got all these machineries, the smart lifts, lasers. I mean, I love lasers. I love impacts, cordless tools, all the things that they're coming up with, making it so much easier. A lot better products for us to make the install better for the customer. So, yes, I agree on all the tools that, we've gotten. And like the team up and the pads for the installs, for the...
What's team up? Tell me what team up is. I don't know that one.
Well, it's just like, it's a schedule for all of our glaziers, going out and install jobs. And then you can click on it. It has a schedule of what jobs you got to do for the day. All right. And then you click on it, you'll see the pictures of the where the shower is going to be and what his measurements of it. It gives you all these information that you need. And it's really helpful for the installers. No doubt. 100%.
Does that stuff get input by a foreman or a project manager or something? The pictures of the shower, how does that get in?
Yeah, well, the one that goes and measures, which is Mike, he'll go measure the job, take pictures of the job and his measurements, and then Cody will take the measurements and all that and put it in and order it from OK.
But it's a manual input into the program, and then the installer can pull that out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The installer can, he's got his install sheets, we're drawing up on that. Yeah, it's all the things that a glazier can need to get his job done.
Another episode you can check out. We did Tim Byrne at Glass Build, and Tim has, I guess it's an app where the installer can take pictures of what they're going to use, and it uses.
That's what we do.
But it uses artificial intelligence to take those pictures and write like a PO. Like you take. I didn't use it. He explained it to me. Like you would take a picture of 3 tubes of caulk, and it would like write up 3 tubes of caulk. He's got like an AI image to text type program that sounds similar to what you're talking about.
Well, that's the future, AI, but AI can't put in inch 60 by 70 insulated glass, maybe a smart lift, but somebody has to be running it.
So biggest change in the last 10 years, we'll say the improvement in tools and the use of that, primarily letting the glazer do more with less, right? Like that trend, and then what we just mentioned with AI. What do you think the biggest change in the glass industry is in the next 10 years?
We've got so many great things, that has come into play in the past 10 years. I can only imagine what it's going to be in 10 years. Because, I see us growing every day, something new that's come into play that we can use for this or for this style, or, it's the unknown. All I know is glass is not going anywhere, and I can't wait to see what it is in 10 years.
Yeah, I think to your point, I don't think, ChatGPT is not going to install insulated glass, but there's more integration of that into the tools. I think most people thought, when you looked at like the Jetsons, right? And you start to see some of the stuff starting to come alive, like self-driving cars, right? I think people
Right.
thought that the trades would probably be like one of the first to be replaced, and I think it's going to be one of the last to be replaced. I just you could probably program a robot pretty easily to like sort papers.
Right.
But I don't think you're going to be able to program a robot for all the troubleshooting stuff that you would have to do with a curtain wall frame.
There's exactly. There's no way you can. I don't see them doing anything like that anytime soon. Having a robot to where it could do, you know, there's so much to know being a
Now
glazier. There's so
there's
much.
repeatable actions. I'm going to make you a podcast listener by the end of this. There's another one we did with Ray's Robotics, and they have a robot that puts in. Oh my goodness, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. The Ray's Robotics machine does embeds, right? So on a high rise, they've got this robot on the floor, and it drives around, and it puts all the embeds for the curtain wall out on the floor slab, and it's all programmed, right? But that's like one repeatable task. That's not hanging the curtain wall. That's not glazing the curtain wall. That's not sealing the curtain wall. Um,
Butter in the
right. But I
corners.
think I think
You
I think
know.
like just to that ends is like the robot won't replace the glazer, but the glazer will work with a robot kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. You know, I believe that
And
100%.
I think that's good.
So yeah,
People
every day
people
help.
probably want to throw their hands up in the air and say the robots are going to take our jobs, but I don't think that's true. I think, like I said earlier, I think every glass shop is looking to hire more people, and if they can't get enough people, the robot can supplement it, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I
as
guess so.
as the helper, the robot's the helper.
Right. Yeah.
So
No doubt.
instead of
Yeah.
needing,
Because I need one, and
instead of
they won't get, yeah, they won't get me a helper.
maybe they'll get you a robot.
Maybe.
So instead of 5 glazers, you have 4 glazers and a robot, something like that.
Oh man, I'm sure I'll have somebody new here and there help me. I just teach them carry it upright. Don't let it bow. Don't let my glass bow. Help me lay a shooting mirror on the table.
Well, Carla, that pretty much covers the questions I had for you. Do you have anything you want to throw out there? Any plugs? Any final closing remarks?
You know, I love glass like no other. My daddy was everything to me. He's the reason why I am a glazier, and he was the best glazier I've ever known and never will know. And I know I make him proud with how I am because I don't stop. Don't tell me no. Don't tell me I can't because I'm coming 100% hard for that position. So I just want to be the best glazier I can be ever.
Where is your glass crown that you made?
It's back there.
I
Back
thought you'd
there.
be wearing it.
Oh, you want me to
No,
go get it?
that's all right.
Oh yeah, well they put it up on our Facebook
Okay.
website on the companies, and they took a picture of me. So everybody thought it was funny. I thought it was
We'll have to drop a link to it so people can go check it out.
funny.
Cool. Well,
Okay.
hey, Carla, I appreciate your time. You have a great night.